Hi guys, it's Clarice, and today we're going to do a tutorial on something a little more exciting and new. I am doing a name card, and essentially what that means is I am going to write the name and then do florals around it. But the interesting bit about this is we're going to be using masking fluid. I've never used this before, and I figured this is the perfect time to experiment. So I've roughly written out the name, and the next thing I'm going to do is just take some of this fluid using a paintbrush and just kind of go over the name, let it dry, and then do my painting around it. And once that's done, then I'm just going to peel it off and then have that nice effect, hopefully. Like a masking effect. Yes, that's what I'm looking for. So I will use, never really used masking fluid with a brush before, so not to ruin my other brushes, I'm just going to use my number 9 in these regular round brushes. And it says right here, do not apply on damp or soft size paper, remove as soon as dry. After use, wipe the edges of the bottle's neck. Okay, so just got to keep that in mind. So once I have all this done, then I'll let you know about paintbrush sizing and whatnot. Also, the thing about this tutorial is I'm going to use 3 colors and make it work with just 3 colors. So let's see how that pans out. And my 3 colors are going to be, I'm going to use the Daniel Smith colors. It's going to be the Gamboge. What's it called? The new Gamboge, yes. The quinacridone red, I believe that's what it's called. Yes, rose. And then also the Flado blue. So I'm just gonna use these 3 and use a lot of blending. So I have some of that on here, and I'm just going to like lay it out using the brush. And if you've watched any of my other videos on brush lettering, I think I have like 1. When your strokes are going down, you go light. Sorry, when they're going down, you press down on your brush, and when you're going up, you go light. You take off the pressure, is what I mean to say. Just so you can get the nice thick and thins. I'm going to try and do this quickly before it dries. And hopefully it lays down nicely. I'm actually just taking it out, just dipping the brush into the bottle and just using it that way. Just because it's such a small surface, I don't want to take out a bunch of liquid and then like not use it. Very frugal that way. All right, so I have that written. Oh, let's not forget the I dot. So I have that. I'm just going to wash off the stuff from my brush and then just change the water. You can kind of see the yellow. I'm just going to pause the video right now so I can change water. All right, so let me just get this back in focus. There we go. So I think it's dried, but I'm almost thinking like maybe I need to do, not sure if I'm gonna need to do like another coat of it. Like I've never really used this before. Yeah, just to be sure, I think maybe I should do another coat on here. Because it looks like it's a very thin, flimsy because I was assuming it should be a lot thicker to kind of be peelable. I'm not quite seeing that, so I'm just going to lay down another coat of it. And then let's see. So again, using the same thick and thins for your brush strokes going down, you're pressing down, and for the ones going up, you're kind of taking the pressure off. So once again, I'm going to pause this video just to see, make sure, give it enough time to kind of, what's the word? Dry up. And I've just laid out some color. I mentioned to you already, I'm using the rose, the quinacridone rose, the yellow gamboge, and the Play-Doh blue. So just using these, I'm going to use some of the roses, pinks, purples, yellow, and kind of mix it with some of the rose to get some nice coral, and then yellow and blue to get some greens. So trying to keep this as simple of a palette as possible without using and introducing too many, but just mixing more to get the colors I want. So I'm going to pause this to make sure this dries up quickly, and we'll be right back. Okay, so it's fairly dry, and we're just going to start. Just to before I begin, I'm just going to let you know that these kind of florals that I'm doing are going to be super loose and almost like abstract in nature, and it's just all about the blending and making it look, we need it to be fairly condensed so that you, like when we take the masking fluid off, you're still able to see and decipher that it says Liana, which is a very pretty name. So the brushes I'm using are going to be the Princeton Neptune number 8, the Mop number 1, and the Silver Black Velvet in the 4. And if I want to introduce any other ones, I might, but I might not. So to start off, I am going to start off with a really nice quinacridone rose. And I'm just mixing it with my number 8. And I have quite a bit of water on here. And so now I'm just going to put it on. So I'm going to start off by doing a rose and leaving a lot of white space. So for the centers, I'm going to just do my little C motions that I do. Getting some water because I want it to be dark to light. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce some of the yellow, the gamboge that I have right where while it's still damp. And now I'm going to take my Squirrel Mop, and just using water, I'm going to do this. Just spread it all around. Take a nice flow of color. Mix these colors in there too. And I want it to be how this is turning out, like the soft, almost haphazard blending going on. And now using the same brush, I'm going to take more of the gamboge and I'm going to create another floral right here. And now using my Squirrel Mop, I'm just going to dip the tip of it it just has water right now, and then what I previously used here. I used the tip in the pink, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. And you see that nice blend that's happening. I'm going to get some more of that pink on here. And actually, using this, I'll get some of the pink and just add it in there so it spreads around nicely, and then continue with that. All right, and loving how this is turning out. And then what I want to do next is I'll take some of the red rose and the blue, and I'm mixing that, and I'm going to create something like another floral here, and this one can be more like the like one of the petaled flowers, 5-petaled flowers rather. That's what I'm trying to say. And then using, so for the centers and the main color, I'm using the number 8, and then for the, to spread it out, I'm using the mop brush. So just now that I've done the center, I'm just going to extend this and create something like that. So it's supposed to be light and white and like lots of white space. So it has that nice abstract look to it. I'm going to add more of that purple in the center just so it's like a nice dark blend. And then using the same brush with the purple that I have, I'm just going to create some very light florals at the side. It kind of could be taken for leaves or other kind of extra florals that are just extending from this. And you can have variations of blue, maybe blue running through the veins, or not the veins, the stems of it, and just it gives it like a really nice effect, as you can see. And again, you don't want it to be too out there, but just enough that you can tell that these are florals, other kind of florals just hanging out. And you can go lighter in color too if you wish. Just something like that. And then I'll just add some off to the side here too, just so it doesn't look like it's just randomly added there. And again, you just want to create the illusion of flowers. So if it's just like loosely laid down, it's all good. Just give it some direction. There's a lot of flower tutorials that I've done, so if you aren't quite sure how to do that, just refer to one of them, but this is fairly easy to follow. You're just kind of using the same techniques of using C or comma brush strokes and laying things down and then kind of blending some color. With this one here, I'm just gonna extend from this and create more of the stuff that I have up there. So I'll do something like this. And give it some direction, as I always like to say. And maybe add some of the blue in there too, so it looks like it's extending from this floral out there, changing it into purples almost with the pink, and then some of them are just remaining blue. So it really, like, you can get some really nice effects if you really kind of let go and let just be loose and try new things. really. So just let the brush do all that work for you, really. And then make sure to add some water as well if you want to get some other nice loose effects like floral. So I'm just going to wash off some of the blue on the mop, and I'm just going to add just plain like a wash of water on here so that this ends off a lot softer than it currently is. Right, like that. And now I'm gonna go and do some more on here. So for that, I am going to use more of that quinacridone pink that I have, and let's lay it on here. I'm just going to rotate this so I can better show you. And again, I'll do, in fact, I'll mix it with some of the blue, get some purple going on. All right, some C strokes and mixing of color. And then I'm going to go in with this, and instead of just plain water, I'm going to add some of the quinacridone and then lightly do these blending applications of water. And keep doing it. And we're just going to keep on going, even though my son has walked into the room and wants to get stuff. I've asked him to leave. All right, so now I'm going to add some of the yellow in here just to kind of extend from here because we've got a lot of blue and stuff happening. So I'm just going to add some yellow. And add some on here as well. So the whole point of this is to have like a very abstract piece of artwork with a burst of color. But that forms into this kind of like this nice painting, abstract painting that is. So now I've mixed the yellow and the blue, or the gamboge and the blue, and I've gotten this really nice turquoise, which I'm going to kind of use to kind of indicate leaves. And again, it's just loose strokes all throughout, taking advantage of the areas that can be blended. And so look at that, so much burst of color, guys. It's a lot of color. Now I'm getting another green because it all depends on how much blue and green ratio you have going on. And so I have this other green happening right here. And I'm just going to create some very loose leaves all around. But keeping up with that whole strokes of color happening. I'm just going to add some in here. Maybe I shouldn't have added in there because it kind of ruins that yellow, but you know what? You have to see what the end picture looks like before you kind of decide. And just gonna trail this off here and leave that as is. And then maybe I'll just do some more on here before I wrap up. So here we go. Just do some at the side. And then some of this green that I have here, I should do it in this area as well so that doesn't look random and like it's only in one area, not in the others, kind of. So if some of that is poking out there, that's great. And just some here. And then I have this area which has the L, but you want to make sure these areas are covered in color, just so when we take it out, when we take out the masking fluid, it doesn't look like something's missing. So I should just do more leaves on here. Extend the sleeve here so that it's in there nicely, and then I'm just going to do one here too, and then use some other green. So you just make sure that these areas are filled out before you finish or wrap up. And then I think to end off, I'll just do this area here. Okay, so this is where we've left off. The video actually stopped recording, so I just did some light, very light greenery on the sides just to kind of have it go from dark to light. And this is where we're at. I think I've waited long enough for it to dry. Some areas are still very slightly damp. But now comes the more interesting part, which is to take off this masking fluid. And I think, I've never done this before, but I think if you just rub it off, it comes off. So here we are rubbing it off. Oops. I think some areas are still slightly damp, like on the masking fluid itself. Oh, so you can just, instead of rubbing it up and down, just roll it. So it doesn't, ooh, there we go, it just peels off. So I'm just going to speed up this process so we're not watching it forever. All right, and so this is what we're left with. I'm quite pleased with it. I actually wanted to make this a lot lighter, but for some reason when I paint it kind of always gets a lot darker. But I like the burst of color. I'm just trying to do something new, and for some reason it keeps coming back to these burst of colors that I seem to be producing. So here's another thing. I've only used 3 colors, and I've just mixed them about, and look at the variety of different colors I've come up with just by using 3 colors. So really and truly, there's so much you can do. You don't have to use a lot of different colors. If you have the basics, you can create some beautiful, beautiful stuff. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you guys have enjoyed the whole masking tape idea as well. And thanks so much for watching, guys. Thank you for subscribing. And if you do end up doing something like this and would like to show me, please follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. I love getting tagged by you guys and just seeing what you come up with. You can always use the hashtag Clarice Gomes Watercolor as well. And then this way I can follow what you guys are doing. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and we will chat soon. Bye.